You wake up. You grab your phone. You scroll through notifications. You reply to messages. An hour later, you haven't even had coffee yet. The day controls you before you even get out of bed. Benjamin Franklin would say you didn't just lose an hour, you surrendered command of your day. And once you surrender command, you never truly get it back. He discovered something few have understood. Time is not managed, time is commanded. Franklin created what he called the Protocol of Temporal Sovereignty, a system where every minute of the 24 hours had a commander. And that commander was always him. Never circumstances. Never urgencies. Never others. In the next few minutes, you will discover how a man without a digital watch, without apps, and without smart alarms managed to control 100% of his time in an era where everything conspired against it. If you have ever finished the day exhausted but without knowing exactly what you did, if you felt you worked all day but nothing important moved forward, prepare yourself. What Franklin built was not a calendar, it was a force field around his time. A fortress where urgencies do not enter, distractions do not penetrate, and you decide, minute by minute, what happens to your existence. Franklin woke up every day at 5 in the morning. But before opening his eyes, he had already won the first battle of the day, the battle of intention against reaction. While sleeping, his last conscious thought was, "Tomorrow, from 5 to 6, I will be the commander." Not, "I will try to wake up early," but, "I will be the commander." The difference in language created a difference in reality. When his eyes opened, there was no negotiation. No, just 5 more minutes. Franklin understood something brutal. The first moment of the day establishes who commands the entire day. If you yield to the temptation of the snooze button, you have trained your brain to yield all day long. If you get up at the first alarm, you have trained your brain to obey you, not your impulses. From 5 to 6 in the morning, Franklin had what he called the sacred hour of programming. An hour where he literally programmed the next 19 hours. He didn't just plan, he programmed like an engineer programs a machine. He had a document he used every day, a battle map. At the top, written in large letters, "What good shall I do today?" Below that question came the protocol. Franklin divided the day into 5 sacred blocks. Each block had 3 inviolable rules. Rule 1. Each block had a single objective. Not 3, 1. This avoided what he called the fragmentation of consciousness. When you try to do several things at once, you do nothing well. You waste mental energy switching contexts. Rule 2. Each block was protected by walls of time. From 8 until noon was creative production. No human could interrupt him. Not employees, not clients, not friends. His secretary had explicit instructions. Unless the house is on fire, Mr. Franklin is unavailable. This sounds radical, but Franklin did the math. 4 protected hours produced more than 12 fragmented hours. Rule 3. Each block had a metric for victory. It wasn't work on printing. It was complete 10 pages or solve electrical problem X. Specific, measurable, binary. Either you conquered it or you didn't. No gray zone. This created brutal clarity. At the end of the day, Franklin knew exactly if he had won or lost. Most people don't know because they never define victory. But here is the secret that transforms everything. Between each block, Franklin had what he called transition intervals. 15 minutes where he did nothing related to work. He walked. He drank water. He looked out the window. He breathed. It seemed like a waste of time, but it was the opposite. These intervals reset the brain, allowing him to enter the next block with total energy. Modern science has discovered that the brain needs micro-rests to maintain performance. Working 4 hours straight without a break degrades quality by 60% in the last hour. Working 4 hours with 3 15-minute breaks maintains quality at 90% the entire time. Franklin didn't have an fMRI, but he had brutal self-knowledge. He tracked his energy hour by hour and discovered the patterns. The first block, from 8 to noon, was always for first-order work. This meant work that moves the needle. Work that creates value. Work that, if done well, transforms results. These were not urgencies. Urgencies are third-order work. They scream, but they rarely matter. Franklin had a rule: if it is urgent, it is probably not important. If it is important, it is rarely urgent. In this block, he attacked the most difficult, most important, and most transformative project: the book he was writing, the experiment he was conducting, the negotiation he was preparing. One thing. 4 hours. Absolute focus. By the end of this block, he had already achieved more than most people achieve in an entire week. And it was only noon. The second block, from noon to 2 in the afternoon, was for absorption and connection. Lunch with interesting people. Reading the newspaper. Walking through the city observing. Franklin called this strategic input. He understood that you cannot create from a vacuum. You need to absorb ideas, perspectives, and information, but not randomly, in a curated way. He didn't talk to just anyone. He chose people who knew things he didn't. He didn't read just anything. He selected texts that expanded his vision. This was not socializing. It was knowledge mining. And it worked because he was deliberate. Most people absorb garbage all day and wonder why they don't have brilliant ideas. You are what you consume. Franklin consumed excellence. The third block, from 2 to 6 in the evening, was for second-order work. Replying to correspondence. Organizing finances. Supervising operations. Tasks that were important but didn't require genius. Franklin used this period because his creative energy had already declined, but his operational energy was still solid. A perfect symmetry between task and capacity. Many people invert this. They spend the morning, when they are at their peak, replying to emails and sitting in meetings. They leave creative work for the afternoon when they are mentally exhausted. Then they wonder why they aren't creative. Franklin laughed at these men. They use gold to buy copper and complain they are poor. Use your best hours for your best work. It seems obvious, but it is rare. The fourth block, from 6 to 9 at night, was for refinement and reflection. A light dinner. Conversation with family. A review of the day. And here entered the most powerful tool of the Franklin Protocol, the Temporal Command Journal. Every day, without exception, he opened this journal and answered 5 brutal questions. Question 1. Did I command my time today, or was I commanded? Brutal honesty. If he spent the day reacting, he marked commanded. If he executed his plan, he marked commander. Question 2. Where did I lose command and why? He identified the exact moment he surrendered control, an urgent email, an interruption he allowed, a distraction he chased, and he wrote down the root cause. Question 3. Which blocks were victorious? He reviewed his victory metrics. Did he complete the 10 pages? Yes or no? Did he solve the problem? Yes or no? Binary. No excuses. Question 4. What patterns am I seeing this week? He looked at the last 7 days. If he was losing command in the same block repeatedly, there was a structural problem. Question 5. How will I be a better commander tomorrow? A specific action. Not, I will focus more, but tomorrow I will put the phone in another room during the creative block. Specific. Actionable. Testable. This journal was not therapy. It was engineering. Franklin treated his life as a system, and systems are optimized through data-based iteration. But here is what separated Franklin from everyone else. He didn't just command his time, he protected his time like a vault. He had what he called the 5 walls of temporal protection. Wall 1, the wall of no. Franklin said no to 99% of the requests he received. No to unnecessary meetings. No to favors that drained energy. No to opportunities that didn't align with his goals. People thought he was rude, but he was strategic. Every time you say yes to something non-essential, you say no to something essential. Your time is a zero-sum game. Franklin preferred to offend people by saying no rather than betraying himself by saying yes. Wall 2, the wall of inaccessibility. He had specific times when he was accessible. Outside those hours, he simply did not exist. He didn't answer doors. He didn't pick up mail. He didn't show up in places. He vanished. This created scarcity, and scarcity creates value. People learned, if you want Franklin, you schedule on his time, on his terms. Otherwise, you don't have him. It was math. 2 men want the same result. One is available all the time. The other is available only in specific windows. Which one commands the narrative? Always the second. Wall 3, the wall of brutal delegation. Franklin delegated everything that didn't require his specific brain. If someone could do it 80% as well as he could, that person did it. He only did what only he could do. This freed up dozens of hours a week. Hours he used to think, create, and innovate. Wall 4, the wall of elimination. Every month, Franklin reviewed his activities and asked, if I stopped doing this, would anything bad happen? If the answer was no, he eliminated it. Half of the things we do are rituals without purpose. Wall 5, the wall of sacred sleep. At 9 at night, no matter what was happening, Franklin went to bed. He understood the equation. Controlled time requires energy. Energy requires sleep. If you sacrifice sleep to gain time, you are actually losing control. Arrested Franklin in 4 hours produced more than an exhausted Franklin in 8. So he protected sleep like he protected gold. We reach the truth nobody wants to admit. You don't have a time problem. You have a command problem. You let the world dictate your agenda. You let urgencies steal your priorities. You let distractions fragment your focus. And then you complain you don't have enough time. Franklin would say, you have exactly the same time as I did. You simply do not command it. The Franklin Protocol is not about having more time. It is about having more command. And command is built through small decisions, repeated thousands of times. Waking up at the first alarm is command. Protecting your creative block is command. Saying no is command. Reviewing your day is command. Every micro-decision is a vote. And you are voting at every moment, command or surrender. From today, you have a choice. Continue letting the world control your time, reacting to whatever appears, arriving at the end of the day exhausted without knowing what you achieved. Or implement the protocol. Divide your day into blocks. Define clear victories. Protect with walls. Review with brutal honesty. And discover what it means to be the commander of your own existence. Tomorrow morning, when your eyes open, ask Franklin's question, will I be the commander or will I be commanded today? And then, minute by minute, hour by hour, block by block, build the answer. Because your time is not just gold. Your time is your life in liquid form. And the only difference between those who achieve and those who dream is who commands that liquid and who lets it leak away. The protocol is waiting. Not Franklin's version, your version. Adapted to your life, your blocks, your battles. But built on the same principles: command, protection, measurement, and iteration. When you look back a year from now and see mountains moved, you will understand what Franklin knew. Commanded time is not managed time. Commanded time is a conquered life. Would you like me to help you design the meters of victory for your first 3 time blocks tomorrow?